I want to play for you, Tom, real quick. We're just in Texas, and Rachel did mention Texas. Here's when I did a little sweep of the crowd and asked people what's the most important issue to them, and let's listen to what they said.
Reproductive rights, 100%.
Climate change.
Voters' rights.
Abortion. Body autonomy. Women's rights.
Women's rights. The economy.
Our democracy.
Okay.
Voting. Women's rights.
Okay.
Voting.
Okay.
Women's reproductive rights. Democracy.
All right.
Reproductive rights.
I have a wife and daughter. Abortion.
And I'm telling you, that was my whole trip there. Everywhere I went, I tried to ask people, what do you care about? Consistently, abortion, abortion. Here, one we haven't heard a lot about, well, climate change, which we haven't heard about in any of the polls, and people were really passionate about the right to vote and democracy. The things that we talk, it's why we talk about this a lot on the show, because people talk to me about it. It's what people are worried about. Why do you suppose that the polling that we're seeing and the polling averages aren't reflecting that, when that is what people are hearing and saying on the ground?
There are a lot of issues with polling at this point. I think we're all well aware of that. We've seen the track record. When you ask someone if the economy is important to them, they're always going to say yes, right? When you look at the rank ordering, we do a lot of focus groups. We're doing a lot of focus groups now. I tell you, whether it's Democratic women, swing women, even with Republican groups, abortion, choice, and those issues you talked about, democracy, these are the issues that are coming up, not just coming up in the groups, they're the first thing mentioned.
Yeah, and Rachel, let me play for you. This is a little bit wild, though. This was Charlie Crist. Charlie Crist had a little bit of a debate back and forth with Ron DeSantis on abortion. Take a listen.
We just found out recently about a case of a middle school girl near Jacksonville who was a victim of incest, became impregnated. Because of the bill you signed, Governor, she had to go 2 to 3 states in order to take care of this issue. That's not compassionate leadership. That's not doing the right thing. That's not even having a heart.
Charlie Crist has not only supported abortion up until the moment of birth, he even voted against the Infant Born Alive Act, which would have had medical care for an infant that survives an abortion attempt as born alive.
Ron, again, that's not true, and you know it.
Okay, there's no such thing as people aborting babies that are already born. That is stupid, and people keep saying it. But this is the fear that I hear people reflecting to me in real life, not in a poll. That if, God forbid, you have an ectopic pregnancy, if, God forbid, a child is raped. In the state of Florida, if a child is raped or a woman is raped, they're out of luck. There is no exception for incest or rape. And so I think people living in states that already are under Gilead, which is what a woman even said to me in Texas. This woman was almost crying, saying she feels like she lives in Gilead in Texas. I feel like this issue is so personal and emotional. There's no way to poll it. It's just there.
It's exactly right. And also, number one, we are seeing a Roe effect in the polling. What people need to understand, and Tom alluded to this, we started this cycle 2 years after, right after Biden won, understanding we'd be the out party, and that probably what we'd be looking at is a significant loss in both chambers and across these governorships and statewide offices. Instead, what we saw after Roe was the generic ballot first invert and now equalize, putting us at parity on that. And then also this enthusiasm gap from what you're referring to, Joy, and you know it's my buzzword. Negative partisanship, right? Yeah. When you are, it's not, if people think, oh, it's simple, like it's hate. I just hate Republicans because I hate them. No, I hate them because they want to tell me that I have to carry a dead fetus inside my body, right? That is fear. That is emotion. That is threat, right? And we're seeing that everywhere. The hard data also suggests that we should anticipate some odd outcomes coming into election night. So what I would tell people is we are in a fantastic place in terms of polling, that Fetterman's up, that Ohio looks competitive. We should be looking at a completely different landscape, and that is the Roe effect right there.
Yeah, women are fighting for their lives. I mean, I've never lived in a time in my life when you felt it's so extant that we're fighting for our literal liberty, and people are saying, you really just care about the price of bread. Really quick, Tom Bonner, I do want to ask you about Fetterman, because there is sort of a Rorschach test. There was a piece, I don't have time to read pieces of it. It is a Rorschach test. There are a lot of people who have AFib. There are a lot of people who suffered strokes. A lot of great senators, members of the Congress, people who are still in the Senate have suffered strokes. What do you think happens there? Because all I can remember from that debate is the sound clip we played about abortion. But the right is attempting to use Fetterman speaking slowly, I mean, as if Herschel Walker don't exist. He even have a stroke. I won't. That's me. I'm the mean one who said that. What do you make of this and the health effect of Fetterman?
Well, it was clear from the beginning of the debate that Oz didn't want to talk about choice. He was trying to change it. Let's talk about crime. Let's talk about the economy. There was that one question in the middle of the debate, and he said what he believed. He told the honest truth. And as you said, he wants to punt that issue to a group that, nationally, as you said, 2/3 of state legislators are men. Most of them are older white men.
Yeah.
That's not going to play well. Pennsylvania had one of the biggest gender gaps post-Dobbs in voter registration. It's young women there are very fired up. This isn't going to help them. And
you know what? I think for a lot of people, they'd rather have somebody brave enough to go out there and risk embarrassment and risk the sort of pain of embarrassment to show this is me a little frail, That actually, to me, was gutsy. And I felt it actually made me like Fetterman more because I'm like, he had the guts to get out there, and that could not have been easy. And he's improving, but he knows that he was going to be a little at a deficit. And I think people would rather have that and somebody who's going to protect their rights and let them have their freedom and their liberty than the other side, who wants women to be state property. My little editorial at the end. Rachel Bitecofer, Tom Bonnier, thank you.